Hi and welcome to this other video in which I'm going to show you how to do logistic regression on SCAT as well as its interpretation in terms of coefficient signs and also in terms of other stoves. And if you're watching my videos for the first time, I invite you to subscribe by clicking on the red button at the bottom right of your screen, and don't hesitate to activate the notification proofs to keep up with my next videos, and a like with a blue thumb up. It's always a pleasure. So regarding logistic regression, you're saying that binary logistic regression, specifically in terms of the C tutorial, what allows us to estimate the chance of the occurring of a binary event that has only two exits. So if you want, for example, as far as the tutorial is concerned, to estimate the probability whether a woman has an assisted delivery, we have a sample of women having responded to a questionnaire. Well, nothing, because assisted path that takes the value if the woman make an approach, if she has an assisted birth. So in terms of the variables that we're going to use to explain assisted delivery, we have the place of residence, the wealth index, the woman's age, her level of education, that's your partner's education, and we're going to show you how to make the estimates without doing the programming and the rest. Then we'll be able to show you how do you do it in programming. So to be able to estimate a binary logistic model, so I'm going to go to the statistics tab, and then you go to binary hideout column, and then you select Logistic Corporation Reporting Coefficient. Click on it. Then there you have the option to choose. Another independent bet, as I said, is assisted childbirth. It's going to take a value and a value, and so we're going to put all our explanatory variables there. The place of residence, the index of the research index, the age of the woman, the education of her partner. And we're going to limit ourselves to these different variables. They're the variable. The mid-residential variable, for example, is a variable which we want to treat as a quantitative variable, of which we're going to put I and point name of the variable. The research index is quantitatively variable, so we have left the education of women and therefore of mothers as well broad. I point rank, the name of the variable, same for the education of the partner's partner as much as me and for. And so once that's done, we just need to click out. Here we see our independent, which is assisted childbirth. The model is also significant. The pseudo is created the probability. 0, which means that the pro, so you see that in the treatment, are treated as qualitative and variable. Come on, put the dot and the I. I place variable names before the less. So compensation, the modality of reference is the middle. Since it is the rural environment modality that appears and its impulse is negative, which means that belonging to the rural environment decreases the chances of adopting assisted childbirth, therefore in its rural residential environment and partly at risk of our erosion. Assisted, and therefore through the other things, you will see in a moment how we can deepen the interpretation of the coefficient. And when it comes to the wealth index has a positive influence on the myth. That means that when the index of forming wealth, the probability of adopting assisted childbirth also increases. The same for the age of the woman. When the age of the woman increases, it also increases the chances of adopting the lad. Assisted childbirths, since our worst, are significant within the 5%. On the other hand, at the level of education, we can notice that here, belonging to the community, where having a higher level of education does not have a significant influence on luck, and therefore we can notice that the second primary level has a significant influence on. The chance to adopt the approach, therefore, was in terms of interpretation to see the belonging, since given at the level of education. No level of education has been adopted as a reference modality, since there I will table my variable at the level of education so that you see the different modalities of education. So if I tab you'll see that we have no education here. Primary, secondary, high, therefore, which means that in this position, our variable education has been chosen as the reference modality. So a coefficient of positive simply means that belonging, being in primary school. In terms of the partner's education, so the coefficients are all positive and significant apart from the level. Superior, so that's it. That's all. That is the interpretation of the coefficients to be able to see the other things in our statistical procedures, binary column, logistic progressive port incorporation. So there you have it. I'm going to choose my independent variable model of variable assisted delivery. Explanatory variable, the environment of residences. Let me clarify with one point. Be that as it may, let it be treated as a qualitative variable afterwards. We also have quantitative wealth. I'm going to choose the second option, the indices. Then there is the age of the woman. I'll add education, then a bed dot, and then hop there. Statistics, final, atom power. So that's one of the variables. High points, and then I'm going to add partner education, and then click OK. That's it. My other stoves have been calculated. Let's see if the residential environment in rural areas has a lower heat than a negative structuring before, etc. This is normal. So the stove allows us to deepen the interpretation of the coefficients of the stove of 0.71 after the conference interest between 0.65 and 78, which means that women in rural areas have 0.65 to 0.78 times more chances. The one in the middle has adopted assisted childbirth, so less chance if we have, and for a few more chances, it means that we have fewer exchanges, which is the wealth analysis. Another warmer one, about which means that as the level of wealth increases, the integrity of wealth increases the probability of. To ensure 80% adoption of assisted childbirth and form snatching. So as far as the level of education is concerned, as he brought it up earlier, I explained it to you. There your references was chosen as a level. Without education, the ratio for women at the primary level ranges from 1.12 to 1.34. Times more likely to adopt assisted childbirth than those at the primary level. They have no level of education. Interpretation for the high school level. So that's it for this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so and don't hesitate to like. It's always a pleasure, and we will take it again very soon in the new computer.